Welcome back, everyone. It's Hotel Talk, and this episode, I kid you not, we have been planning for well over a year, but it's been tough to coordinate our busy schedules with Mrs. Viola Edward. He's a dear friend, a fellow speaker. We've been at, I can't even count how many events together, all over the world, and it's really a pleasure to have Viola finally on Hotel Talk. Viola is, and wait for this, it's a long list, a business mentor, a conscious leadership visionary, a transcultural psychotherapist, a breathwork trainer, and a humanitarian, among other things. So really the list is very long, but we shortened it down to that. Welcome, Viola.
Thank you, Farah. Such a joy to be here.
And I didn't mention, I'm a fellow Lebanese.
Yes.
And like me, Lebanese, having moved all over the world and growing, spending many years, informative years in different cultures and countries. So let's start by telling everyone a bit about you, your background, and where you grew up.
Yes, well, I grew up in Lebanon. We moved to Lebanon when I was 5 until 13.
Where were you before?
I was in Iraq, in Kirkuk. My dad is a Syrian Iraqi, and my mom is Lebanese. So I was born in Iraq. Unfortunately, my dad passed away at a very early age, and then we moved to Lebanon. And then just before the Lebanese war, that devastating war that lasted 15 years, we migrated to Venezuela. So I lived in Venezuela 30 years. I grew up there from 13 to 33 and so. And then I came to Cyprus. I've been here for 22 years.
I love that.
Married to a beautiful Englishman who was born in Cyprus and who grew up in Cyprus, and he had that dream to one day come back.
I love it. You're English gentleman.
Yes,
like me. I have so many questions, but tell us what it was like growing up as a Lebanese in Venezuela in South America. I think there's quite a big Lebanese community there.
Yes.
And you've mentioned before that wherever you went, Lebanese popped up in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, let's discuss a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, Venezuela is beautiful, colorful, rich land that we moved there in 72, and it was so open, like you will never feel foreigner. There were no discrimination about whatsoever. It's a country that most of us, like when we meet each other and you say Viola Edward, and maybe the Edward you don't know where it's coming from. So the next question, where's your origin? Where's your parent from? Because all of us, we're first, second, third, fourth generation from somewhere. So beautiful. It's welcoming. Of course, for us, it was a little bit hard when you migrate like that just before situation in your country. So I had to leave school at the age of 13 and start working. So that was little.
You started working at 13?
Yes.
Wow.
When you say all these things about my summary, what I do, I always have to clarify that I've been working. I'm gonna be 66, and I've been working almost for 53 years now. So that was a little bit tough. And in the 70s, when a child or teenager will stop schooling, they were not like today. You have internet, you have all these options. So you needed to be like 18 to go back to the system. And I was a schoolgirl, like I really was a book girl. So it was a little bit tough, that part. But then I find my way again to education at the age of 15, and then come back and did the high school at night, and it was never again.
So you were working in the day and you did high school in the evening?
Yes. There were years that for years, I think maybe 5 years, I slept like 3 hours because, we were living in this commercial popular area in Caracas where my mom cousins were. And then I used to work and study in the East, and spending all this time in the buses. It was a little hardship, but this is what.
And where did you find to employ you at such a young age?
Yes, I started in a shoe store, and I'm thinking about my love for shoes. It's not as many of you, because maybe I had. And then I went into. My mom said, "You have to learn a trade. You have to learn a." So I went to hairdressing. but really, I didn't like it. So I escaped at the first opportunities. And then when I get that opportunity to go back to study, I went to being receptionist and telephonist because also I spoke French and I learned Spanish very quickly because of this of the French and Arabic, and then I become the secretary of the Syrian ambassador in Caracas. I worked
Wow. What
couple
age
of
were
years.
you?
Yeah, I was very young,
Wow.
17, so I managed because of the languages and escalate.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who worked 21 years in the corporate world, but
Yeah.
like one step after the others.
And you're a people's person, so.
Yes,
Yeah.
but at the age of 21, I was marketing manager and I was traveling the whole country and I had wonderful salary and a wonderful package.
You see, we should never take education for granted. I tell my kids this all the time. You moan that you don't want to go to school or have homework, but there's people out there that can't get to education, can't get to that option.
I always clarify that. So even in the poorest time of our life as migrant, we always ate good because my mom was a cook, and we always dressed good because she was a seamstress. So we were always dressed. I keep that in me when you give me compliment is that I have from my mom. But I have to say I was an education beggar. I mean, through all these years, I find a system. So first one, it was to negotiate to come back and finish high school because if not, you're stuck. So that was a huge negotiation because I was under the age that they will accept. But I stayed there for 4 hours crying, begging. At the end, they accepted me. They gave me a scholarship. They were so touched, and they gave because I declared also that I didn't like my job, so they offered me a job to work in the same school in the morning, study at night. So I entered into the education system at a very early age.
How was high school at night?
It was tough, quick.
But how did they offer that? That was a government system?
Yeah, they usually there is a system called Parasistema that when you are 18, you could do 5 years in 2 years and a half because our high school is 5 years. It includes the A level in your system.
Yes.
Europe. Yes, and then these people find a way to push that to 16, to the age of 16, and create like a joint system. They call it Parasistema y Bachillerato Libre, free high school and Parasistema.
For those who missed out earlier.
For those who missed out, because the problem was that I was under 16. And my negotiation was that by the time of graduation, I will be 16. Please. And then they make an exception for me, and they did accept me.
Oh, how touching. That makes me
want
to cry. I can't imagine being in that position.
But I was so thankful. And I did all that without saying to my mom. So now we had the other negotiation to do, coming back home and saying to my Lebanese mom that I'm not going to continue the path of hairdressing. I want to go back to school and I find a job as secretary. And I have to take 3 buses to go there every day to go. So it was very tough negotiation. But my mom, she was amazing.
Oh, I'm sure.
She was a tigress, like wonderful mom.
Oh, bless.
And of course, she supported me all the way through.
What age did she pass away?
She passed away just before 18.
Wow. Yeah. So you had her for
I had her
a good amount of time.
She very much missed her.
Oh, bless you. And did she live out all her years in Venezuela?
She did. She did. She had a break for some years, and she went to US with her. She had. My mom is one of 11.
Wow. I know
many.
Our Lebanese families also.
So many of her siblings were in Canada, and one of them were in US. So she spent like 4 years with them in early 80s. When Layla also went there to study English and to start uni. And then she came back to Venezuela. And when I moved here, really, she loved it here in a way. When I invited her to move here, she looked at me and she said, my nephews and nieces are there, my friends are there. And me and Layla, we talk about it, and we said, she has changed so many countries by now, and she became a widow at the age of 24, and she had so much trouble in her life. Really, she didn't want to move, and we supported her to stay. And then she will come and visit me 2-3 months every year.
Yeah, and we can understand that.
Yeah,
of
course, of course.
Like when you're happy and it's what you know, and
yes,
yeah, it's your comfort zone.
yeah.
So why Cyprus? I mean, you said okay, it was your husband's dream, but yeah, tell us a bit. How did this island that pulls everyone in?
Yeah, Cyprus. Well, Michael was born in Cyprus, 1946. Grow up here for until 11, I think, when he was sent to boarding school and then to university. But his parents were in Cyprus. Both parents are buried here in Limassol, actually.
And what were they doing?
When they moved here in 46, Michael's grandfather from mother's side is from Simi Island. His mother name is Daphne Petridis, so if that ring the bell. So he had businesses here. I think they were partner of the Colocasidis, and they were the people who brought the first Ford car to Cyprus. So they have these businesses about cars. And then during some time they went back to England, the parents, but they never liked back there. So both of them came here, and actually they were pioneering in Finicaria. At the entrance of Finicaria, they built a house on the hill with a view to the lake, beautiful. And both of them passed away actually here. And for many, many years, we just had this property until the family had the property until just last December.
So he grew up in Limassol?
No, he grew up between Nicosia and Karinia.
That's what I thought, because your home now is in the occupied area.
Yeah, we have a house we have the house that he bought in 73. Wow. It was the division is in Karinia, and the parent had a house here in Finicaria. Okay. So every summer holidays or Christmas they will come back to Cyprus to see the parents. So in a way, they are like the third category, Greek Cypriot, Turkish Cypriot, and those are the English Cypriots. That they grow up here, they love this, they know this country like so well. Yes, it's home. So when I met Michael in 99 in south of Spain. I was living in Caracas. He was living in south of France. And after 3-4 years of transatlantic relationship, when we decided to get married and live together, so by then Venezuela the profile was not very promising. Plus Michael is a very free man, a sporty man, go and run at 4 a.m. if you want. So Caracas was not the best in those moments for a personality like this. And then we try to live, we explore Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe we live there because it will be nearby my businesses. Or we thought about Costa Rica. And then, we said, let's try it in Cyprus. And I thought, yeah, let's try it. I traveled so much. It's close to so first marriage at almost 44, moving country. That was another tough thing, but we survived.
Wow. But you see, that's one of the quotes I love. Happiness waits for you and love waits for you too. And it was meant to be. Mm-hmm. And I think there's so much pressure on young people. I'd say even more so on women about finding, the right partner. And my mother always said to me, never settle, because one day you will meet the right person, and then it will be too late if you've settled for someone else. Yes. That's so true. It's better just to wait. From a mother. Yeah. Because we become, with all these changes, with all these languages, culture, ups and downs in your social level, you become such a particular person. It's not easy just to team. Yeah. But doesn't mean it's impossible. You just have to keep trying. I always say to my clients, just keep trying. It's okay, because many people will kind of train you or make you advance toward where you really want to be. Sometimes people don't know exactly what they want, but it comes an age that you know exactly what you don't want. So especially in relationship, I remember one of my clients who was engaged twice, divorced once, and now
second marriage, and he was dealing with alcoholism. He didn't want to go to treatment, and in some moment she was telling me maybe I should stay, because nobody is perfect. And it come out of me like this. It's true, nobody is perfect, but we stay with the imperfection that we can deal with. We don't stay with the imperfection that is killing us in the process. So of course, nobody is perfect. We're not perfect, but you need to keep trying until you match in these two imperfection, and you make the perfect relationship for you, extraordinary relationship with you, with our imperfection that we can live with, we can deal with. That is not attempting against one of our major principle of values.
Absolutely. And spiritual growth. I was reading about that as well recently. Well, you just touched on having a client who's an addict, and that's one of the topics I'd love to discuss if you want to. The topic of addiction. I know you've been very brave and very vocal at many, many events I've been to, talking about addiction. Why does this happen? How can someone overcome it? You've overcome it. And what can someone else do to help someone, just like you were saying about the client? How can someone support someone else going through that? I know it's a huge topic and we need a podcast series to discuss this.
Come back to it. But what I can say, we go into life with some pain. Could be like if we just talk about me, the death of the father when I was 3 years old, the loss of the first country when I was 5 years old, the loss of the second country when I was 13 years old. So, I mean, each one of us has a story, each one of us. But also each one of us has a multiple qualities and possibilities to come over. But sometimes we are in an age or we are in an environment or we just couldn't and we ask for the wrong help. The addiction is the wrong help, is the wrong help, SOS. So we start, for example, let's talk about drinking, which was mine. So we start because of curiosity, we continue because of peer pressure, we continue because we feel better, and later we do it because we need to keep alive and we think we can't live without it. So in these 4 stages, if we manage to have support mentoring in the first stage, in the second, in the third, we can still, like, fortunately, I get it in the third stage and I manage to shift it and go into treatment and get out of that, out of that prison, out of that darkness. So what I can say about addiction is that whenever you feel it in yourself or any member of your family, please ask for help. Not only tell them what to do, just you ask for help. And if that member of the family doesn't want to go for help, you go for help. Like there is AA and there is Al-Anon. So you go for the family members of addict or alcoholic or different addict. Or you find a mentor, you find a psychotherapist, you find a psychiatrist, depend of the subject, depend of the matter. When you start, especially if you're a pillar of the home, then you learn how to manage the situation. Addiction is a very painful process for a family. It touched the whole family. And I do it, as many of my teachers and colleagues, we do it because of a duty. We came out of that help. It's a duty to help others. So what I do here is like I support the family, where to go. I support them also to find some rehab center around the world according to their possibilities, to their culture. Sometimes I call some colleagues from abroad and we make a team here to be able to hold the situation until we find out how it's gonna be the display of it. So it depends of what is the situation. Or after the rehab, then I work with the person and the family too. What's important is that also is prevention. For many, many years as a business consultant, we went for several organizations while we're working about vision, mission, purpose, values, leadership, conscious leadership, management procedures, so, holistic supervision. We filter those thoughts about prevention. Maybe we cannot talk about addiction directly, but we talk about addictive behaviors, because
and addictive personalities.
Personality like mine, I can get addict to carrot and to green tea, I have to tell you. So I'm always observant of myself. So it's that intensity when you go so intense about something because now your life depends on that, And believe me, it could be carrots, certain size and certain growth. So the idea is how, when we talk about addictive behavior like perfectionism, over ambition, over giving, over planning, over resting, anything that take you from in essence who you are, we can catch it on time. And many times in the organization, when we're talking about this, many times, if it's not always, 1 to 3 to 5 people will come to me and said, I want to talk to you. I'm dealing with so and so and so. So I think it's our duty to keep going with emotional well-being, mental health, fitness, and do prevention. And where is going to be the prevention? It's going to be in organization, because one-to-one is going to take me ages to do that. But this is why it's the beautiful work in organization and in government. And for that, I go to Davos, to the WEF, and I go to Paris Peace Forum, and I go to so many places to talk about this thing. And when they tell me why a person like you is here, I said, as you don't come to me yet, I have to come to you. So so let's join forces and keep working in that. And when you ask for somebody to support you in your business, also find a support like holistic support and see what else we can do while we're working in what you call the hard subject and soft subject. My subject is not soft, it's deep, but if you want to call it soft, it's okay. It's very, very important.
I mean, it's such a huge, I don't know the statistics, but it affects so many people directly or indirectly. I just read Matthew Perry's book, Chandler being from Friends. And it was, I mean, he's passed away now because of his addiction. And he'd written a book just before. And it was so moving. He was so honest in it about how he spent, I think, $7 million in therapy. And he would just keep going back to it.
Yeah,
he might manage.
Because they relapsed.
Yeah, he relapsed. And deep down, he just didn't love himself. Yeah.
And sometimes, I remember also, especially with alcoholism and other drugs, many people will tell me, no, but I enjoy it. I'm not addict. And I always ask them, ask yourself, did that drink make you to think things that without drink you would not have made, or say things, or I mean, think. When I talk with women, they get very touched. Say you're a mother when you drive being drunk. Just imagine if you touch somebody else's life. But the problem is that there is a misconception about alcoholism. They think alcoholic is the one who's sleeping at the door of the bar. And if people have jobs and they have family, they think they are not. But actually, you are. Yeah, you are functional one, but you are. And the jump from one stage to another is just one more stressful situation. So it's very, very important to talk about it, to go to therapy, to go to AA or to other organizations. Just for that, me and so many of my colleagues, we come public to encourage you that, look, I remember in a wedding, I think it was in Nicosia, and we were in the wedding, and usually me and Michael are the first one who start dancing, and there were that friend who would come and tell me, have a drink. And I would tell him, I told you that I don't drink. Have a drink. And suddenly I stopped and I said, dear, why do you want me to drink? And he looked at me and he said, to have fun. And I said, look at me. I've been dancing. I already talked with 3/4 of the people at the table. We've been here 1 hour. I didn't stop dancing. I'm preparing to have dinner. I mean, do you feel that I'm not happy? That he looked at me and said, actually, you look very happy. I said, why do you want me to have a drink if I already told you that I can't? And he was like so ashamed. And he said, it's just a habit. Sorry, it's just a habit.
But it's to make him feel better because he was drinking to justify his own actions.
Yes, and so I also ask you to support people. Like I ask family, if one member of the family is is dealing with rehab, don't put the bottle at the center of the table. Make the effort when you go dinner together. Don't ask for a drink. Go drive for that night. There is so many things to do. But of course, we need to support the person to go to treatment.
Definitely, and to change, anything that is habitual, to try and eliminate that, at least for the period that you are detoxing or getting used to a new stage. Happened to me when I quit smoking. Because I decided just to quit like that and without any patches or whatever else people use or vapes. And so I just tried to remove myself from any situation where I would.
Oh, the abstinence syndrome is so tough.
It was tough, yeah. But, I actually think for the first 2 months I didn't drink as well, because I thought if I drink, then I will want a cigarette. And if I have 2 drinks, then I won't have the willpower to not. So, and I remember one friend who was quitting at the same time said she was drinking bottles, and she said, "Oh, that's insane. Isn't that too much?" And I went, "No, it's the opposite. It's the best." And yeah, I tried not to see friends who were chain smokers. I tried not to go to restaurants where you could smoke and be just,
Yeah, you would when you change a habit like this, that is so intern in your life. Like I was chain smoker. I used to smoke 5 pack a day.
Wow! Yes. You don't need a lighter.
Yes. Yes. It's terrible. 3 to 5 packets a day. So of course, when you go into a healing process, you will lose some friends because you're not the same person and you're going into a transition, but you will win many other friends. And later, after some years, the friends who were really friends, you will come back together, but you need to get away. And that is very painful, especially if the addiction is at home with several members. So that's even more complicated. But I would say, whoever in your life or yourself, just ask for help. And we will find, if I will not be able to help you, I will find a person in the world who can help you. And, and it will take a little bit of time, but slowly, example of that. We get out of it.
And who better to help someone than someone who's really been through it? Yeah. If someone is asking for help and the other person has no idea or just textbook, that's not gonna.
And also, one more thing: remember, there is some addiction that we heal and some addiction that we have to control the rest of our life. But we will leave that for next time.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, because I think a lot of people will benefit from your wisdom and your experience, and it's very brave, I think, for people to come out and share very personal experiences. It is. So how did you get into psychotherapy? I mean, tell us what happened, and psychotherapy and breathwork. I'd like to touch on both.
Yeah. So as a child, I was a book child, a reader. But nobody knows at what age I started reading. Maybe I took a book to hide and I didn't know how to read. One day I said to Mom, because she said, we don't know how, but you were reading at a very early age. So I always wanted to be a psychologist, always. Like I remember being 6 years old, 7 years old, observing the adult and saying, "Oh, why did he do that? I should not know. Maybe he's gonna." Like I remember that part of me. Anyway, but by moving to Venezuela at 13 and have to stop studying, so that get into trouble. But I just hang on there. I didn't let go my dream, and then went back to school, and then finish high school, and then start registering in the university. Believe it or not, I registered for 7 years. I will never get psychology. Never. I will get law. I will get.
It was a 7-year course.
No, every year I will register. Because there were only one in Caracas that I could study at night.
So you applied?
I will apply. Yeah, I will apply every year, and every year I will not get it. Meanwhile, while I was applying, I find a system. That system was because by then I was working, I had my own money, I had my car, we were advancing in life. So I find this system to go to teachers and do the same system of begging that work. And I will tell them, look, I'm waiting for my da-da-da, but I'm really interested and let me be in your lesson. They said, no, we cannot let you be here. but 9 out of 10, they will accept me and they will be fascinated. And I have so many mentors that after the lesson, they will come. I will do the homework. I will do everything, but it was parallel to the system, like I find my way. And then one day I get social work as a subject. I said, okay, start social work and change to psychology. But that was more complicated. So finally, I don't have an undergraduate degree. But then I find a system called transactional analysis with a very famous psychiatrist. And I went there, did the first course, go into my begging story. And then he said, you don't have to insist. You're good. I'm taking you with me here in the institute. So I did a full training of therapy with him for years. And then I went to transpersonal psychotherapy, and then slowly, but I was still working in the corporate world. In the last 10 years, I was in the insurance sector, 5 years as broker, big broker company, and 5 years in a transnational Royal Alliance insurance company. And then in that process, when I was 30, and I become 30, my gift to myself was to go as a patient now, because until now I went to group therapy, studied, but I didn't go into the depth of, okay, we need to stop that grief of my father, because the grief of my father lasted 30 years and that mode of being ups and downs. So I went to psychoanalysis as a patient. I've been there for 3 years and a half, 2-3 times a week. So, and in that process, I met the breathwork. And the breathwork, what it did, it kind of amalgam all what I have studied, all what I have done to myself. And suddenly I saw the light. Before that, I met meditation. I used to go to the ashram to do service. So I had like a huge transformation. And by the age of 34, I managed to change my corporate work and was ready and finish my study in breathwork and open my own center and have years of spiritual path, like beautiful to kind of detox body, emotion, mind. This is another conversation, years.
And it was, I mean, for me at least, ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Now everybody's
I was
talking about
vegan at
breathwork.
that time.
Can you imagine? Yeah.
Early 90s.
When there was nothing. I mean, people were just managing to get their head around vegetarianism, with people like Linda McCartney coming out, and you were already vegan, and you were doing breathwork, practicing it and teaching it.
Yes.
And it's only very recently that people are talking about breathwork.
We did a lot in South America. I think in Europe it's come a little bit. Many things I see, even in business, we like I had in '94, owner of a business was his general manager, was some of the other managers, like in the floor, breathing in their boardroom. That was 1994.
Imagine.
And I remember...
You say that now in Cyprus, people will be like, oh, no, yeah.
I remember in 1995, a general manager of the electricity, of one of the branch of the electricity of Caracas, was telling me, you're telling me that I become a manager, I am father of 4, with all these negative thinking that I have, what's going to happen when I manage to transform them? We were talking about creative thinking. We were talking about the power of meditation, nutrition. I said, well, you tell me how, if by 50 you achieve all that with the mindset you have, imagine when you're going to transform that. I had news of him 10 years later. He became very, very big in the world of finance and very, very good.
You
so
see,
I
that's
think
amazing.
Yes.
I love that. So, for everybody listening, what if you had one bit of advice to give everyone? What would that be?
Ask for help, please. Don't leave your pain alone. Also, don't leave your creativity alone. When you have an idea of a business, don't go say error. Ask for support, because we entered your life. I entered your life for 2 major reasons. One, when it's a critical situation that you couldn't find a way to find, maybe sometimes even we don't have to find the root of it, but how to build strategy to go around it while we find other things. So, but also I come to your life when you are well and you're happy but you know there is more, there is areas of improvement, or you have your business, your work, but you want to change, or you want to change countries. So it's areas of improvement. We don't enter to your life only when there is crisis. We also enter when there is joy, and it will be much less work. So my wish to you, it will be like my sister, or if I would have children, to my stepchildren, to everybody I love, don't leave your pain alone, neither your creativity alone. Ask for support. And we're here to support you. And as I promise, if I couldn't, one of my colleagues in the world will.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't feel alone. And we all want to grow and be the best version of ourselves.
Yes, and also, Farah, there is this stage of life, like I'm very satisfied with myself, the woman I become from where I was coming, from where I was. But now I feel like a senior person that I'm young and I'm colorful, but there is certain seniority, if I could say, and there is a beautiful duty to give back as much as I can while I'm taking care of myself. So, and that stage also we need to prepare for. Every stage in life we need to prepare for in the best way. So I'm offering you my services, but I have 3 supervisors at least, depend of the case. I go to. Last year we lost this beautiful, darling friend. Guess what? It took me 10 months to go over that. I went to therapy myself. I had to cry it out, leave that grief, give it a chance. And just now I have 3 months back fully to myself. So life will challenge us all the time. And really, you don't have to leave it by yourself. Because that will create a situation of abandonment and fear and sadness that we felt in our childhood. We don't want to go through.
No, absolutely. So, do you have a favourite quote?
I have 2 favorites.
Okay, let's hear the 2.
I have one from okay, I have one that will come to me. That I slept and dreamt that I was happy. I lived and served and discovered that service is happiness, or something like this. And I have another one from Voltaire. This first one is from Rabindranath, before Voltaire, that said, I'm in total disagreement of what you're saying. I don't agree with any part of what you're saying, but I will fight with my life for your right to say it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So, yes, I go for this freedom of being able to express, and also for human rights, the right to choose. All of us, we should have the right to choose what we want to be alive, to change. Maybe we choose that way and later to change. I wish for women to really, really to be at the place that all of us deserve to be. And I wish for men to recover, to retake their right for their emotional life. So it's true that they took the power away from us and they took the emotion away from you. So I want us all to be leveled and together to build the world and rebuild and recreate the world that all of us we deserve in our next generation.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a lovely way to end it. But we always have the bonus question. So pick any paper that will be, I'm sure, more light-hearted, but who knows? Let's see what you got.
Do you prefer beach or the mountain? Michael, this is a question for you. Well, I prefer the beach in summer, not in winter. I'm Venezuelan. I'm from Caracas. We have all this beautiful weather all year long. So I would say both. Here I would say I like the mountain in the spring, and I love the beach in the summer.
Yeah, bit of everything. Viola, thank you so much. This was an absolutely stunning and really touching podcast episode. I feel like I've got to know you better. I'm sure our listeners have gained so much from your wisdom and your honesty and all your advice. So thank you for being you. Thank you for everything you do. We didn't touch on Creative Women, that you also help and now are partners with Olga Balaglitz, who's also been on this lovely podcast. But we left that for Olga to say in hers, and we touched on Olga.
Well, Olga is one of my life gifts, as you are. And there's so many things we didn't touch in Charity on Wheels, my work with women in prison or in India, but we will do more.
We'll save that for another episode.
Yes,
so there's more coming, everyone.
I'm so happy and pleased, and I have to say here publicly that really I'm so proud of you. I mean, I know you for many, many years now. I'm staying in her hotel. I stayed last night, and every step I go, the elevator, is that efficiency of being in that kind of beautiful organic order and structure, and then we were in the breakfast and all these alternatives. It's like somebody, like a mom who thought about every one of her kids, the vegan thing, the vegetarian thing, the meat thing, the other thing, and we just felt so cared for.
Oh, that's what we want.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy.
I congratulate you for all what you're doing for health and for your family. We're emotional today, so
yes, we're really emotional.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it helps us more than you may realize. If you are planning on coming to visit us at St. Raphael Resort and Marina, feel free to email our reservations team quoting Hotel Talk and receive an exclusive offer just for you. We look forward to seeing you soon, hearing your feedback about our show, and producing many, many more interesting episodes just for you, our listener, and our valued guest in mind. Thank you so much, and take care.